Hello and welcome to this demo. Today we're going to talk about how Centrify provides SSO on-premise for Unix, Linux, and Macs. And when I say on-premise, it's because Centrify has the Centrify Identity Service, which allows people to get web and SaaS SSO. This is going to be a demo, a briefing around what Centrify enables on Unix, Linux, and Macs and the upper layer apps. Okay? So let's first talk about what Centrify does, right? So you've seen probably the slide. Ultimately, Centrify allows organizations that have different operating systems than Windows, applications and endpoints like Macs, leverage Active Directory for the purposes of authentication, privilege management, end-to-end auditing, and policy enforcement using group policy. On the cloud, Centrify allows organizations to use the same on-premise assets for Amazon servers or Azure servers, but it excels providing SSO as an identity provider as a service for apps like Office 365, Google, and all that stuff. On top of that, and as part of that service, it provides mobile, device, container, and application management as well as Mac management. The ultimate philosophy is use Active Directory, which is what most organizations have. 90% plus of enterprises use Active Directory, and use Centrify software to enable that, as well as the cloud services. Today we're going to talk about what you may have in the data center. In the data center today, you may have multiple Unix platforms and Linux platforms, as well as Macs. I stress on Unix and Linux because there's a lot of organizations out there that want to position themselves, and maybe they only support one flavor of of a Linux platform. We're talking about broad support, right? And this may be hosted in your data center or in a public cloud. You may have Active Directory as well, right? 90% of organizations do. But you have to support OS integration for databases, for apps, for big data, for the day-to-day, which is login applications like SSH, right? So most likely your users today either have disparate credentials or they struggle with productivity. The next is your web and application servers. Web in the case of Apache, Java servers like JBOSS, Websphere, Weblogic, J2E. And you may have also ERPs like SAP, regardless of it being Java or SAPgui. And at the same time, you may have things like DB2, right, running on Unix, Linux. Um, uh, this the problem is right here, right? So all the complexity that you have to implement to support these scenarios, right? And then there's security posture, security attestation, right? With Centrify, basically what we say is just focus on Active Directory, and we'll provide the rest for this platforms right here. And this is going to be Centrify Direct Control. The first thing Centrify Direct Control provides is OS and Unix frameworks authentications, name server switch, and pluggable authentication modules, plus Kerberos that is designed to work out of the box with Microsoft implementation. A lot of things to treat domain controllers fine is, sites and services awareness, offline caching, support for GPOs, a lot of CLI tools. Ultimately, Centrify allows you to leverage Active Directory without extending the Active Directory schema, without putting any software in domain controllers. So basically, in general, there's no Centrify server. What that allows you to do is do direct integration via, either PAM, NSS, login applications, either via SASL or LDAP or GSSAPI. And that's going to give you common credentials and single sign-on. In the case of web, Java, ERP, and DB2, Centrify provides application plugins that will give you integrated Windows authentication. Now I'm going to show you in the next video how this thing works, but first I need to explain why are you choosing Active Directory. First, 90% plus penetration. I've said it 3 times. It's already there, highly available. You have processes matured around it, and your people have expertise around it. So you're 50% there, pretty much. Why Centrify? Because we provide the broadest support for Unix, Linux, and Macs, not just RHEL derivatives. No servers, no schema extensions, no software and domain controllers. Unix frameworks, like I said, name service switch, pluggable authentication modules, authentications via Kerberos, GSSAPI, privilege management, eliminate sudo, do it also on Windows, right? Be able to attest who has access to what, be able to enforce the separation of duties principle, and you have a lot of tools. So we're going to be seeing how we can provide direct integration to login applications, for example, like SSH. I'll show Oracle database, MongoDB access, Hadoop. I'm going to show Apache, at least one Java server, DB2, and we're going to see some of the tools in action. In my demo, because there's a lot of things that I need to show, I'm going to be using a lot of environments. The first environment is going to be my own laptop that has some VMs. I'm going to use my old laptop, and I'm going to access that through Centrify Privilege Service. I have another environment that I'm going to RDP into. Is based on the Microsoft Test Lab guide, and that one has a one-way trust between Contoso and Fabricam. And then there's the Centrify Big Data Lab for those examples that require Hadoop. In the next video, I'll be showing you the demos, and I'm hoping that you enjoy this.